I got to tell you that, they call it the Bellagio of drag strips, and I tell you, I looked for 3 days to find something wrong. And I'm sure Bruton Smith could walk around and tell you what he would have done differently, but I certainly couldn't find anything. Place is absolutely incredible. The racing surface was fantastic. Both sides of the bleachers, and this same place is set up to seat, I'm guessing, close to 100,000 people. The stands are gigantic. Viewing from the tower was fantastic. Well, actually, viewing from on top of the tower was fantastic. And 4 10,000 apiece horsepower top fuel dragsters.
That's some serious horsepower.
I've experienced a lot of fuel cars going down the track, but I've never experienced anything like that.
Congratulations, Spencer Massey, top fuel. Matt Hagan got it done in funny car. Mike Edwards did it in pro stock, and then Hector Arana Jr. again nailed it.
Yes, he did.
In pro stock motorcycle. All right, as I promised, we got a special guest in the house here for the next hour. And when you have a guest, you bring the country boy in the right way, right? One of the toughest customers I know, riding in supercross, motocross, you name it. This guy's been on a bike since he probably could get on a bike, 3 years old. Kevin Winidom, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Yeah, that's right. 3 years old. So
3 years
just
old.
a couple of months ago. But tough retirement, but enjoying my my life as a fan and spectator of the sport, and getting to do stuff like this. It's been a great retirement gift.
A whole different ballgame for you, isn't it? I mean, right now you'd be probably getting that bike ready to go, being around. If you were riding still, I mean, you're out there.
Well, technically, right now, I think I'd still be sleeping.
Okay.
It's definitely a night show, but like you say, just taking advantage of the opportunities. Thanks for having me this morning and having a good time talking about Supercross, a sport that's given so much to me and that I truly love.
Supercross is becoming so popular. I can't believe how many people roll into these stadiums. I mean, when you look, it doesn't matter where they go. There's 30, 40,000 people. We've packed the house at Rice-Eccles Stadium up here, 30,000 plus.
In the snow. In the rain.
Well, you probably remember that.
Yeah, of course I remember. One of the best races of my life. I won that race. And it was first ever race in the sleet and snow. And I tell you what, the Salt Lake City fans were amazing. They stuck in there and were cheering louder than ever. It's a great place for Supercross. A beautiful city. The backdrop to that field is amazing, and look forward to a great race tonight. We have some great opportunities for some guys to bring home some championships tonight. It'll be a great night of racing either way, whether they clinch tonight or not. But I love being in Salt Lake City.
So I imagine the travel is about the same because you're going on tour. You're doing the TV thing live on Speed tonight.
We will be live on Speed tonight, and it's funny, retirement has brought on a pretty busy schedule for me. It's
retirement what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I remember my dad saying a long time ago when he retired. He's 73 now. That he retired to a lot busier lifestyle with a lot less money. So I'm trying to slide right into his shoes. But
the odds of you busting a femur though walking up to the TV tower is a lot different than riding, right?
I like my odds. I definitely have rods in my femur here. Still have the hardware from that crash, one of the worst crashes of my career. But that's the stuff that kind of brought me to my retirement. The Geico Honda program has been amazing for me. It was the fans of Supercross have truly made my career, and then to have to step away is it was the right decision. But a lot of times in life you expect the right decision to feel good. It didn't feel good to make this decision, but I felt like it had to be made. And like you say, I like my odds of not getting injured tonight and spectating on a great sport and enjoying the racing.
The nice thing about being a broadcaster is you still get to be with the extended family. I mean, because it is, right? You've been around this forever. You know everybody there. I mean, it's like your extended family. You still get to be a part of it.
But you don't get the adrenaline rush.
Well, I'm sure he fires up the bike from time to time.
Well, yeah, but it's...
He's not racing. I doubt he's quit riding.
Oh,
Well, that, and I also get to do, they bring me out for opening ceremonies, and I get to say my goodbyes and, wave to the fans, which is nice. most of the cities are, all the cities actually have given me a standing O, which is awesome.
Which I'm sure you'll get tonight too.
Truly feeling the love there, and then I get to do my transfer, which is,
Okay, that was my next question.
Yeah, the transfer's still a little danger in the program that I'm running right now, but I like doing it one last time for the fans.
Awesome.
Known for that in the opening ceremonies for forever, as long as you've been doing this.
Yeah, the way that the transfer,
How did that come about?
Well, it was odd. One day I just wanted to get to the other side of the stadium, and I was like, okay, I don't want to really ride all the way around the track. It gets a little bit boring, so I'm just going to kind of hop right across the stadium or dome wherever we were at, and next thing you know, they grew and grew, and 50 feet was a big one, and then it went to 80, and then heck, I have some now that were 117 feet, which I don't really recommend for myself or anyone else at that point. But it's just they grew. They started flashing on YouTube, and they took legs and kind of became a life of their own. And now it's just something that's almost expected of me. So when it's a race that's a mud or an opportunity where I don't get to do it, it's a lot of fans are saying, man, we're really disappointed that we couldn't see the transfer. So. That's what it's about. When you get to that point in your career where you get that positive feedback and fans reminisce on something that you've done, whether it was winning a race or doing a transfer or signing an autograph for a kid or whatever it is. When they remember it and they talk to you about it, it validates what you're doing and gives it meaning and purpose. So it's been fun to do that, and luckily they've all worked out for me.
It'd be interesting to know how many people or kids out there you've inspired to really get into sport, because I imagine that number is crazy.
It would be interesting, and it just blows my mind a lot of times to realize that a race doesn't die. There are people who reflect on any form of sport. It doesn't have to be motorsports. I mean, stick and ball, anything. But, you remember that game, you remember that race, and they kind of get they don't go away. People always look back to that race, and of course the fan at the time is now a father or a grandfather or whatever, but they tell that story to their kids, and it's awesome to reminisce on races like that over and over again.
It's really true. A lot of those really cool races and events just kind of become ingrained in the fabric of the family. Thing that will stand out to me forever was at the World Finals in drag racing, the run that they still call the run, and it's just one of those deals. I mean, Jimmy Pomeroy in Europe, busting it downhill on a bull taco, passing the champions, going for fifth gear, and they're all pretty sure he's going to die when he gets to the bottom and makes the corner. That kind of stuff never goes away, ever.
No, it really doesn't. And like I said, it's weird to not have the action and the excitement in my life, like taking the line tonight. But it's nice to reminisce, and that's something that I can hold on to forever. And in a lot of ways makes the retirement a lot easier and a lot better, and also just the involvement to continue to support and watch and be a part of such a great sport.
So this gig you're doing with the TV deal, is this something maybe long term, or is this just for this year, or have there been any decisions that way?
Well, no, right now we're just using the opportunity to get our feet wet, and like I said, the retirement did come more abruptly than probably I was expecting. I really had hoped to retire on a certain race at a certain on a certain term, but I realized that my head wasn't where it needed to be. I had suffered a lot of concussions, 25 in my career.
Wow.
Was recovering from some broken bones and stuff, and I was expecting to race myself into confidence, and that didn't happen. It actually went the opposite direction, unfortunately. So I decided to hang it up pretty quickly, and the guys at Feld and Speed and everyone gave me an opportunity to get in the booth and get my feet wet and do my sponsors justice and kind of be relevant in the sport here in the short term. Now, long term, we'll see. I have enjoyed it. It's challenging. The guys have a tough job to bring Supercross action to your house and your home or on the radio or whatever. I mean, all forms of TV, radio stuff. That's a difficult job.
There's
So
a lot going on that a lot of people don't see.
That's right, and I'm learning that the hard way, and trying not to look too goofy while I'm doing it. But I've enjoyed the opportunity, and we'll see what comes in the future. But in some form or fashion, I'll be around for
Yeah,
sure.
You're watching the races from a TV monitor and probably not necessarily watching it live, but yeah, it's quite interesting. And you know, I look at some of the other riders. I mean, you know, we look at Chad Reed, for example, getting pretty beat up. You know, wondering when the day is that he'll hang it up, because I'm sure that crosses everybody's mind at some point. You know, how far do I want to take this injury risk? You know, deal, and that's tough. It is a wild sport anymore.
Well,
these
aren't
days.
you,
It really
you're
is.
35, right? Is that what I read?
I'm 35. Yes.
That's a long time to ride. A long time. When do normally do people retire? Are you laughing at me, Shane? Do you
It's
think
it's
that's
like
not-
it's like 16 to 26.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. He's 35.
There's a bit of dog years in
I'm not-
Supercross racing. No,
I'm not saying you're old
No,
by
I-
any means.
I am.
Good Lord, you're
I
old.
could have given birth to him. Come on, you guys. No, come on.
You can see the
It's a
gray
whole
hairs.
other show.
Whatever.
Holy cow, I didn't even think of that.
There's definitely some gray hairs coming in here, you know. But yeah, I was really blessed. You know, there's only 2 guys who have ever crossed 200 starts, and that's myself and Michael Rocco, who is you know, the team manager of the Geico Honda program. So I had a great mentor in how to manage yourself in the later years. But you know, it's interesting you bring up Chad, and I feel like I can see what he's doing and what he's going through. Obviously, he doesn't want to quit. You know, we all love the sport, but he's doing some car driving, and he's getting hurt, and he's having to take some time off, and he's a father, and you know, I've even heard him mention that he wasn't the old guy until I retired, and now he is. So, you know, when you say stuff like that, I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's got great years left in him. I think he's got races to win, and you know, I know he wants to win another championship, but reality starts to happen, and you hear people say key words, and who knows what the future holds for him or anyone else who's kind of getting into that plus 30 range of racing Supercross. It gets really difficult.
It's tough. You look what happened to Dean Wilson. You look what's going on with James Stewart. You know, getting hurt. It is a tough sport, and you know, it's the thrill, the agony of defeat. I mean, it's all that. That's why the fans pour in to watch it, I guess. But we do love it. Let's talk a little bit about last week. A great one at Seattle. Little bit of rain, moisture in the dirt. I know everybody was gearing up for maybe more rain and stuff. Do we adjust our bikes this way? Do we adjust our bikes that way? But Justin Barsha getting it done on a 450 is a great win for him. A good night.
Yeah, what a great rookie year for Barsha. You know, it's 2 wins on the season is impressive. Puts him in a pretty elite group for a rookie year. And the thing that really impresses me about Barsha, besides the fact that he held off the points leader and reigning champion, who's getting pretty close to clinching his 3rd in a row. That's an impressive feat in itself, while he's at a hometown race there with Ryan Villapoto in Seattle, is the fact that he's hungry. He wants to win, but it's impressive that he hasn't thrown it away. You know, a lot of times the rookies, they come in with the energy and enthusiasm, but not the experience. And, you know, as you just mentioned, with the long list of guys who are injured or, you know, having their problems, for him to be able to focus that energy in a positive way and not come away with a major injury, knock on wood, now with 2 rounds to go, that's impressive for Barsha, and I expect some good things from him in the near future.
With how the track was in Seattle and all the rain and the mud, were you jonesing to get down there?
You know, I really was. I still have a set of boots on the truck, and I always threaten, like, hey, you know, how late is too late? You know, can I still enter this race? I mean, did you guys tech my bike? Or, you know, so that's obviously a good topic of discussion on Twitter and all the social media whenever mud happens. But, you know, the Feld Dirt crew did a great job at preserving that race course. They covered it as soon as they built it. They managed to build it before the rain set in, and they had a great racetrack. You know, it was obviously a little bit wetter than most would have liked, but it wasn't quite a true mud race. But like
Close enough?
Close enough for me. I was jonesing a little bit. Yeah.
Ryan Villapoto could seal the deal tonight at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Man, is he? I don't know what more to say about how well he's been over the last few years. He's done very well on that Kawasaki. Done a nice job. He is a tough customer. I know Millsaps and Barsha, you know, all three of them on the podium last week. Dungy's been trying to pull off the upset there, but we've got an opportunity to see a seal of a championship right here in Salt Lake City with Ryan Villapoto. Been strong all year.
Yeah, and I love Ryan Villapoto. Great guy, great competitor. But I want to see this thing go to Vegas. But it's going to be tough for the competitors, his challengers tonight, to keep him from winning a championship. He has to come away with just 1 point more over the challengers. He's I think his points right now are 24, 25, something like
25
that.
25 points, yeah.
25. So right now, if anyone makes a point up on him, because you get 25 points to win. So he's either going to make a point tonight and be champion over his competitors in both Ryan Dungy and Davey Millsaps has a shot at it still, or not. It's gonna be an interesting race tonight. If I was a betting man, I would go on Villapoto, but just for the sake of crowning a champion in Las Vegas, which is the finale next weekend, I'd like to see it go that distance. But I think Salt Lake City might see a champion tonight.
It could be. It could very well be. 25 points is tough to make up, even over 2 events. I know mathematically it can be done.
About the only way to keep him from winning the championship is that he biffs it in the first corner and is unable to finish the race. I mean,
Well, it's
that's, and the likelihood of that, not seeing it.
I think as a fan of the sport, you reminisce on last year, Seattle. He didn't. He fell over, but it was the easiest crash I've ever seen a Supercross athlete take, where he just tucked the front end and unfortunately wrecked his knee. He just blew out his ACL and I believe a couple other, maybe meniscus as well. But it took him out, and it was just such a blink of an eye thing. And for a guy like him who's got a points lead, I think it's important for him to go into this race with the focus of, okay, I have to get this job done. I don't think you ride, in the rearview mirror, so to speak, or try to take yourself out of your stride or your game plan. I think you keep charging along and let the cards fall where they may. But I think that's the most dangerous part for Ryan Villapoto right now would be to ride
Conservatively to win the championship.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got to go out.
Yeah.
You go out to win.
Well, and we've seen that in other sports,
Oh,
NASCAR.
yeah.
When they
It
start
happens
riding,
everywhere.
when they start points chasing and riding defensively rather than offensively, that's when things kind of go south for him. So I don't see him doing that. He's too much of a competitor. He's going to come out and give it all.
I tell you what, that's a great athlete and competitor. It's amazing how we have time practice in Supercross, and that's how you get your gate pick for the night. And I remember when I was racing, if I was first on the board, I felt very confident in my abilities and how the night was going to go. And if I was 9th or 10th or whatever, I wouldn't be that cool with it. I'd be stressing a little bit. And what are we going to do? Are we changing bike setup? What are we doing? But those days don't seem to affect Ryan Villapoto. He's had some of those nights where he's been 7th fastest and going in with a mediocre gate pick into his heat race, and he comes out and it's business as usual. So finding out what makes him tick, as a competitor, you have to really analyze your competition and figure out their strengths and weaknesses. And he's a tough guy to figure out because the things that bother most don't affect him.
Yeah, very true. We're going to take a break here in just a minute. Let me give you the rundown though of last week. Here are how things shook out in Seattle at the Clink. Justin Barcia did get the win. Ryan Villapoto was second. This is in the 450s. David Millsaps was in third. So all three of them were on the podium. Ryan Dungy finished in fourth. Jake Weimer in fifth. Mike Alessi was sixth. Brock Tickle was seventh. Justin Brayton was eighth, followed by Andrew Short ninth, and Philip Nicoletti rounded out the top 10. The championship standings are as such. Ryan Villapoto has a 25-point lead over David Millsap. Ryan Dungy, 26 behind in third. Then it's Justin Barcia in fourth, followed by Chad Reed in fifth. Trey Kennard sixth. Andrew Short seventh. James Stewart is in eighth. He'll be sitting out tonight. And the final, getting ready for the outdoors, kind of hilling up. Justin Brayton ninth and Brock Tickle. Rounding out the top 10, there are the 450s. When we come back, more of Kevin Winidom, K-Dub, in the house as our co-host. We'll talk a little bit about the technology that's in these bikes. Stay tuned. You've been listening to Racing Fan Radio right here on the all-new 1320 K-Fan, powered by you, the fans.
Gold's Bar and Sports Talk. Mornings, it's John
It's fun.
And say the mics are still on.
Hey, thanks so much for doing
Oh,
this.
man, my
Man, it's a
pleasure.
pleasure. Shane Beck, good to have you in. We really appreciate it. We've been plugging you guys all year.
Great, thank you, we appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
We appreciate it.
This is the all-new 1320 K-Fan.
So-
1320KFan.com.
I want some pictures before he leaves.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, you want to do it in here?
Started to sing the song. And you
Wherever.
Yeah, right.
Are you going to keep him?
fun begins when you go to
The whole hour.
You're going to keep him for the next segment? Okay.
The whole hour.
I won't bother
Two
you
more
guys right
segments.
now then.
Join the
Okay.
2 million people
Let him get back to bed.
Yeah.
Do you have to go out at noon when everything gets
I actually have
started?
a 10:15 I have to do at the stadium, and then a noon at the stadium, and then a 3 at the stadium,
Damn.
a 4,
today
and a
and get an
7.
extra 10%.
Nice.
So it's no nap.
I know.
My wife woke up, made breakfast with me, and then
Oh, did you?
pulled the covers back.
So are you
up.
able to bring the
Said,
family?
Have a good day. Just my wife.
Just your wife?
Yeah. My mom and dad live on the property with us, and
Okay.
we live in the country. And
Yeah.
they managed to keep all 4 kids like, almost every weekend. I mean, if the kids have something going on, because they're in dance and piano, and
Sure, yeah.
they got a lot of stuff going on. So we managed to find a way to get them to all that. And if my wife is, if they have an an event, obviously they take precedence over the old man. So I just stay back with them. But it's nice because they get out of school here in a couple weeks. Supercross is over. I get to spend all summer with them.
Yeah, that is nice, huh? Yeah.
The premier trucking
real
service in Utah.
You gonna follow any of the outdoor races and all?
I'm trying to figure it out right now.
From Kent and his crew, back to you. Than's.
Trying to keep a happy wife.
economy strong. Use Corvette Trucking, the
Yeah.
premier
The
trucking.
wife ain't happy,
You know-
ain't nobody happy.
Which might be it.
And if mom isn't happy long enough, if mom's not happy, nobody's happy. If mom isn't happy long enough, you're gonna be unhappy with half your stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, we're actually talking on the way here. I'm opening Planet Fitness Health Clubs. We have 4 right now, and we're supposed to open 17. I'm doing that, doing the announcing stuff. Still got sponsorship obligations with the team and stuff. Doing the announcing thing. And I said, and I have to try to be a dad somehow. Oh yeah, and I have to do date night also. So don't ever forget about date
Not
night.
like me. I coach football. I manufacture milling machines. I do this radio
Yep.
show.
Right here, we can get you
And then I wake up sometimes and go, what the hell am I doing all this for?
Exactly. You do this on the weekends or is this
Just on Saturdays. Yeah, we've been doing it for 12 years.
Awesome.
But yeah,
the Wasatch Front Kia No Cash Lease.
it's been good. You know, we got a lot of people following us all over the country, actually online and stuff. So
Great.
Kia's
it's kinda
10-year,
cool.
100,000-mile warranty too. A 2013
All
all-wheel
motorsports.
drive Kia Sorento
All
is only
motorsports. We
$319
talk
per month.
Supercross, NHRA,
Yep.
NASCAR.
We don't want to be just
Outlaws.
NASCAR, you know.
Sure.
We want a variety. I think people like touching on different things, kind of keeping everybody informed on what's happening.
We even had somebody live at a swamp buggy race.
Yeah.
Where in the heck's the closest swamp buggy race?
Florida.
Salt Lake City, that's right, damn.
Florida.
We had somebody live in a helicopter.
That's right. We did,
That
didn't
was
we?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was way cool. What time's the pit party start? Is it 3?
Yeah, maybe as early as 1, but we need to figure that out.
Hey, Scott, do you know what time the pit party starts?
I can text Prater real quick.
Glad they got that Supercross commercial playing on the show. So did you get a chance to take the wife out to dinner last night?
We ate at the stinking hotel. I
Oh,
didn't get
did
away
you?
to the stadium until 8:30. We do a rehearsal for TV, and then I had to talk with Dirtworks. I put input. We all meet each week on the track and see if we're gonna make subtle changes to, you know, better the racing.
Enhance the- yeah.
Exactly. And then also playing in Vegas, which is obviously, you know, my last hurrah.
Here we go.
Hey, if I hold up a number, it'll be what time pit party starts.
Okay.
If you want to talk about it.
All right, welcome back. Segment number 2, talking Supercross. The riders are in the house tonight, Ricycle Stadium up on the hill. Beautiful day, you have no excuse. Get out there, get your tickets, 75-degree weather. I just can't wait because I remember going a couple years ago, I think it's been 3, where it was just a gorgeous day. Place was packed. The atmosphere was incredible.
I remember going up there wearing insulated coveralls and a hoodie.
Not going to do that today. Not today, no. But it's going to be a lot of fun, Ricycle Stadium. Kevin Winidom is our guest host for hour 1 here. And then he needs to skedoot and get ready for his live show tonight on Speed. And we do appreciate him giving his time to Racing Fan Radio. Good to have him in the house.
You really need to be up there by 12:30. That's when the pit party starts.
Okay, 12:30 is when the pit party starts. The guys will be out on the track practicing and such as that. I imagine they'll be doing a track walk here shortly. I looked at the course. It looks pretty cool, actually. It looks really great.
Yeah, there's a great rhythm section right off the start. A couple switchbacks, 180-degree corners, which for Supercross is great because you can make some good block passes. So if you're faster than a rider, it's obviously a good place to make a pass. Awesome triple jump out there and some really large whoops. Those whoops are about 15 feet apart and 3 feet tall. So for any of the guys that are riding, imagine that in your head, hitting that wide open with kind of one eye open, kind of hoping you make it through. It's going to be a nice track tonight, and like you say, beautiful weather, and it's an all-day affair. Like you say, 12:30 starts the entertainment, and the main event kicks off right there about 10 o'clock.
Going to be electrifying. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about the bikes in general. The technology of these bikes have come so far. Incredible what's gone into these bikes. These aren't your everyday bikes. You go down to Plaza Cycle or out to Stedman's or anywhere like that and buy a bike. These bikes are very technical. A lot of money into them. Tell me some of the differences from a street bike to these bikes. What you guys are putting on for front forks, those type of things.
Well, like you say, they're a lot different. But it amazes me where we actually saw a guy like Andrew Short this year who had to go back to a bone stock bike, like one that you can ride off the showroom floor, and did quite well.
I told you.
Yeah, he was amazing at how well he rode that that bike. And the other interesting thing about what we do with our bikes is, I spend tons of time and tons of money. Our bike leaves the line at roughly $250,000, and I love it. But you take a guy like Barsha or one of my teammates, Chad Reed, or you take my Honda teammates, that is, or you take Trey Kennard, and you put them on my bike, and they absolutely hate it. Like it's the worst bike they've ever rode. So it's very tailored to the individual and very rider specific, and they work great when you're riding at them from 97 to 100%. You get below that, and even I'm like, man, this thing's not that good. It beat me up. And the reason we do that, and like you say, when the forks, they have to take hard hits. Supercross is basically racing your bike into a brick wall. I mean, the jumps are very steep, they're very sharp, and the G-loads are intense, and they have to stand up to a lot of stress and a lot of loads. So testing is extensive, and as you guys know, on any shock, any fork, there's infinite combinations of shims and pressures and oil levels and spring rates, and it's mind-boggling at the options. So the teams go to bed knowing that the bike can always be better, and they wake up the next morning and try to make that happen. So it's definitely chasing the falling sword, so to speak.
The thing with Andrew Short, that particular bike must have just suited his riding style to a T for him to be able to do that, because at that level of competition, with as fine-tuned as the bikes are, to pick one off the showroom floor and tear it up like he did. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're that close.
No, I think he was riding extremely well on it. I think
it suited him well.
It has to have the guys that spent all the money on this bike to have him finish in almost the same position, really scratching their heads.
No kidding.
Why are we doing this?
No kidding.
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, that's got to be a tough spend on that money there, right?
As some of these NASCAR guys, of course, they make their adjustments through the race. We see the drag racing guys make their adjustments through the race. Tell me what type of adjustments we might see, or what adjustments do they make from heat race to LCQ? God forbid if you're in that race.
Yes.
But yeah, different from practice. What adjustments might they be making that we may be interested in learning?
Well, it's having a 19-year career. I can tell you the adjustments have come leaps and bounds. I mean, it's just completely different racing today than it was in the 90s. And what I mean by that is now there is obviously no jetting. There's no it's all EFI, fuel injected stuff. So if we come in and we have an issue with we want a more aggressive hit. We're in Salt Lake City. We're having to deal with elevation. They're changing a lot of that just through the computer. You pull in, they plug it in, and it can be done in 15 seconds. We're changing hit. We're changing responsiveness. Sometimes you'd be changing engine braking. It all depends. I mean, there's really infinite possibilities on what you want to change as far as a power setting and dealing with some of the ins and outs and weather changes that you may have. But I think a lot of it rolls down, especially in the 450 class where power is abundant. We start working on chassis because obviously the 250F's, the lighter bike, they're more maneuverable and easier to handle. I think they want to focus a little bit more on the power, where the 450s kind of want to focus a little more on the handling. And by doing that, we talked about Seattle, where it was a little bit wet. Is your bike going to pick up weight? Is it going to increase weight as the race goes on by the mud sticking in the cases and all the little holes and crevices around the engine and in between the frame and stuff. So you think about that and how the track's going to deteriorate, how the track's going to change, and what lines you're going to be running, because all that stuff, the more you can get it tuned in and not get that one little hiccup or that one little huck where it goes sideways or kicks you, on lap 19 when you're exhausted, you've been at max heart rate now for 20 minutes. Yeah, that makes a big difference in possibly going for the win or find yourself in the local hospital, unfortunately.
You talk about the changes off the track, but as you talk about line changes, here's what Barsha had to say. I thought was interesting how he was able to hear the rider, I think it was Villapoto, and he was able to make adjustments to his line. Here's what he had to say about that. So those are some of the things that you're listening for when you're on the track.